and all to another edition of Love and Action Network Deconstruction Junction. I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life. I can't change that. No one can change that. I'm an online coach and mentor who encourages, equips, and empowers folks to use their time, talent, and treasure for good on the planet. As always, we're joined by my partner in good trouble, the Tara Praolo Studio. The Tara Praolo Studio. How are you doing in your studio today, the Tara Praolo Studio?
The studio is great. The studio is warm because it's 75 degrees outside. I'm also eating ice, so pardon me. Anyway, as Dr. Fo eats a salad. I am Tara Priolo. That's my name, not studio, but Tara Priolo. I am your resident Black, biracial, multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. I come here every week to talk to you fools about the foolishness of the rest of the world. And we would also love to have you. Those of you that are on Threads and have been engaging with us as we build proactive Black community and community spaces. We would love to see some of you on the podcast, whether on this type of episode of the podcast, or just coming on to share your story, or if you want a new feature, or to be a daily boost host. We would love to see you. We want somebody else in that your name here, ? We have room for 6 people. So if you have a party, right? If you're like, I would come with my best friend, Jen. Come with your best friend, Jen. We would love to have you. And also, the new Adopt a Black Artist form, you could also nom some other people if you feel so inclined. And we would love to see that because we're building a directory. We are featuring Black people, y'all, on our feeds, on all of our feeds. So we'd just love to see that. That's what my child wants to tell you all. Am I up first with my thingy? Oh, yes. I think there's a video first. Mayhaps.
I was coming back to the stage because you mentioned that there was an opportunity on the new forum for people to nominate their friends, but I had not included that in the forum and made it live on the website because of my Tasmanian Devil arrival. It was in the suggestion box, but it had not quite made it to fruition. But because we are the Ancestors' Dream, I just clicked publish, and any other artist you would like us to know is now included on that Adopt a Black Artist pre-qualifying survey. Because we're the Ancestors' Dream, we just build websites and forums while we're sitting on a live stage. My great-great-great-granddaddy is pleased. What about yours? First...
And here's the thing. I need y'all to really understand that if trans women aren't safe, then we aren't safe either. And by we aren't safe, I mean Black women specifically. I'm really talking to all women, but because I'm a Black woman, I can only speak on my experiences. We can have this argument and y'all can battle between who's a real woman, who's not, and what womanhood is, and it belongs to us, and we need to gatekeep it all you want. If trans women aren't safe, then we aren't safe either. Because at the end of the day, they aren't checking your pants to make sure that you're trans or not. Okay, they're going based off of looks alone. We all know what happens to a Black woman that looks a little masculine. Okay? Along with Black women, there were a lot of women out there that have more masculine features. If you have PCOS, if you are a little bit muscular, if you have a strong jawline, you're not safe. Once we all really get on the wavelength that gender is confusing and it doesn't matter and it has layers, that the words man and woman are a societal construct and they're not real, then we'll have an easier time having this conversation. But for right now, that's what I need you to understand, is that their fight is our fight. Okay? If it becomes illegal to be transgender, what the fuck do you think is going to happen to you if someone thinks that you might be a trans woman? If someone thinks that you might have been born biologically male, but you're a cis woman? They're not going to sit there and wait for you to get out your ID. Okay? They're going to look at you and make their judgments based off of what they think a woman is. Black women ain't really never been a part of that conversation of what a real woman is throughout history. So all this transphobia that I see running rampant through the community, I need y'all to cut that shit now.
I just wanted to lift this because we've been talking for the last few weeks about trans people, and Dr. Flo often says, leave trans people alone. And this conversation has to be had. It has to be had within the Black community, that trans people exist, gay people exist, lesbians exist, everybody exists, and everybody deserves everything, right? Everybody deserves to eat. And she's right. She's right that if trans women aren't safe, we aren't safe as women, because they are not checking genitals. They're not doing that. They're not doing that.
Women and femmes. Women
Right.
and femmes. This includes feminine men. These patriarchal asshats will try to subdue and punish and be violent towards anybody who they perceive as feminine or aligned with their feminine power. Because feminine power is soft, and has to be turned violent in order to exist under the patriarchy. But we've never lacked clarity around the fact that it's the DL men, those with the glory holes in the corners of the world, who are harming trans women. It is the biggest dude on your block that's beating his chest about how, masculine he is, that's actually into trans women. We can now say, because we're on these well, maybe can't. No, I don't want to get deplatformed from another place today, for speaking freely. But this is what folks are into, and not oftentimes, there's countless stories of DL men harming women and femmes because of that male-dominated violence, but also because in the DL cases, they didn't want to get exposed as fags. And so as a result, they harm because of their internalized self-hatred and homophobia. But y'all don't want to talk about that. No one really wants to talk about the reason why trans women are in danger. Trans women are in danger in our country because we live in a puritanical society where people can't express their sexuality freely. Because in just 30 years ago, I was teased for walking down the hall for having a thing called a switch. I have a very sassy walk. So I throw my ass when I walk because it's a nice ass. And dudes love it. Except that they are not wanting to be clocked as homosexual or bisexual or pansexual or any of these other things. But in society, if we had $1 for every closet case with a baby mama somewhere, we'd be rich. And this is why trans women are not safe, because of closeted and men under a patriarchal society. So yes, the same man that would be violent towards a trans person because of their female or femme identification would also harm a woman. Let us not forget that 70,000 men types logged onto a private group chat where they plotted for the last few years to harm women and femmes. 70,000 men types like me were actively in a group chat, sustained group chat, where the sole purpose of a group chat of these 70,000 was to figure out how to harm women and femmes or to report on having done it already. You in danger, girl. You in danger, girl. And you need to start, like when people say free trans people or protect trans people, you need to start standing up for that. Because after they're done killing off the trans people that they don't like, they're going to start dating your sister and trying to take her the same direction. This patriarchal violence does not complete itself. It has to be nipped in the bud. We don't even allow yelling in our house no more to end that generational curse. You ain't yelling at me. My daddy yelled at me. You ain't yelling at me, because these things are connected. These things are connected to how patriarchal and male dominated our society is. I feel like I'm even saying too much, like about male domination being male dominating in this conversation. So I'll yield. But we have a problem when women aren't safe. And I'll land here by also saying that you weirdos who want us to believe that you're checking genitals on the way into the bathroom is crazy. There's a whole group of transphobic women who actually go on Clubhouse every night, because I sit in the rooms, for those of you who track me, I sit in the rooms with all kinds of crazy people online. I just love it here. And there's a whole group of black women who are like, we don't want these men in our bathrooms. But I don't ever see y'all nut checking somebody on the way in there in the mall. So what are we doing? And if you don't want to have that conversation, how can we advocate for family bathrooms with one shitter in it in every spot? They didn't want to even do that in North Carolina. They did not want to advocate for family restrooms. In New York City, you have, I hate the binary, y'all, but we have male restrooms and female restrooms, but there's also like mandated family restrooms or multi-gender restrooms, so that everybody, regardless of where they go to pee or to shop, they can pee there. I hope this is making sense in landing, but not all localities are restrictive in who they are accepting of to pee. But you women types on the internet, because I want to have a fair and balanced, deconstructed conversation. You women types who are clutching your pearls, child, clutching your pearls, saying, "Oh, what happens if a man comes in the restaurant?" Or like, cis het men aggressors are going to be dangerous anywhere, including to your little boys in the Catholic Church. So leave trans people and drag queens out of it, unless you have a full discussion in you.
Yeah, here we have an awful lot of places. Minnesota's pretty liberal, so we have an awful lot of places that are that have crossed out the male and female signs and just said all gender. And it doesn't matter if there's multiple stalls. It's an all gender restroom. We don't care. Like, and I think this leads back to a lot of the discussion of like how closed off and how weird Americans are about naked bodies. Like, a body is a body, 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 is a body. Like, I don't care if you have a penis. I don't care if you have a JJ. I don't care. I do not care. Like, I literally do not care. It's a body part. It is a whole body part, like ears, nose, mouth. Like, most people have these, right? I don't care if you got both. I don't care if you got neither. I don't care. I don't care. Like, I just really find that if we could all be a little bit more open with each other about bodies, we wouldn't be so weirded out later in life by bodies, right? And I also think that there is a toxic narrative that is believed, and again, like, this is where stereotypes, right? This is all stereotyping, that like every man is a toxic man, and so therefore anybody with a penis is going to be harmful to me, and that's just not true. It's not a true thing. By the same token, not every woman or femme type is soft and isn't able to handle their shit. So like, I really find that these binaries that exist on multiple levels are extraordinarily problematic. And I understand let me use this as an example, I guess, that I understand why portions of the Black community are so anti-trans. And it has to do with the very same reason that Hitler was able to use the Jewish people as a scapegoat, right? Which is that they are a smaller population of people. And in order to maintain the level at which Black people are in American society, some feel the need to punch down, right? And trans people and LGBTQIA plus people are that avatar right now. And that just needs to stop. Y'all just gotta zoom back, and you gotta realize exactly what you're doing, because
they are the people who seem the most punchable upon.
Right.
Which is why queers like me and Poppy bash the fuck back.
Right.
Because you cannot let a bully win like that. If someone comes up to you every day on the playground trying to take your lunch money, eventually you're gonna need to say something, or protect yourself. And I would love more self-defense training workshops for trans people and women and femmes. Any way that you could create a feeling of safety and stability within yourselves in these times would be essential, because remember, again, fear and paranoia is one of the major motivators. Every time a trans person is harmed, it makes other trans people regress in their expression. Every time something bad happens to a woman in the community, it could make women in the community feel more vulnerable. So we have to talk about these things. I'm grateful that we do. I'm grateful that at our particular pizzeria and at our particular lunch table, there's no topic off, uh, like, uh, off the mark or off. I don't know what I was trying to say. Like, off. There's no topic off limits, because we have to hold it all. Moving forward, Threads, man. There's an app by Meta called Threads. I have enjoyed getting to know each and every last one of you all's energy. And I will open this discussion by saying you got to pay attention to what people say and what they do. Okay? Anybody can talk good game on the internet through their thumbs, but it really is the love and action that moves the needle. And over the last week, we've seen people respond to us favorably, respond to us negatively. We've seen people go as far as submitting for the Black Artist Program and other things we have going on. I just want to talk about how interconnected we are right now, meaning that, like, I can swoop in on the comment section of any celebrity or influencer and be seen and heard. And so I guess the reason why I brought this today is because I'm seeing Threads as a massive connection point for people who are real. Even this afternoon, Brandy came in from Off Threads and actually kicked it and had a great time, and I'm sure we'll be back as often as they're able to. What say you about Threads, your instantaneous connection to people, and what are some pros and cons you've seen of the space?
I mean, one of the things I love about Threads is that I'm able to, like, and I need to be better about this, but I'm able to just, like, open the app, type out whatever thought pops in my head, and I can use that really as, like, a living diary of, here's the content that I want to talk about, which I've done a couple of times this week in terms of talking about the blackening of the canon. I would say that for me, Threads has been great in terms of just allowing me to find resonance in my mission, as opposed to, like, searching on Instagram and finding nothing, right? Like, you can type in Black opera singer on Instagram and get very few results. But on Threads, you can ask one time and find 10. And similar to, like, I'm finally connecting with Black voice teachers. I'm finally connecting with people that want to build this directory and want to build it separate from organizations. I am still getting some people coming into the comments on Threads and being like, but Nats, or but whatever. And I'm like, that's not useful to me. Like, you read me all wrong. baby girl that tried to come up under the politics the other day. Girl, you read me wrong. I am not your safe place for the white man conversation. I'm not your safe place. And that is one of those things that
We
like
cannot be a safe place to everybody. Stop
right.
thinking you're going to be a safe place for everybody to land. If you're coming over here with some MAGA bullshit, you're done. If you're coming over here with some blue MAGA bullshit, you're
Right.
done.
I was just gonna say that.
And for the record, I'm not excited about Kamala 2028. I'm not excited.
Me either. But I also it sounds like she might run for California governor instead. Against Katie Porter, which I actually kind of like
She
Katie
can run
Porter.
around the block, and I
Yeah.
still wouldn't vote for her. But keep going.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we had an interesting discussion with Her Story True about it on TikTok a couple days ago. And so anyway, what I have enjoyed about Threads is that I also get to goodbye. Hello, computer. Come back. I dropped my whole computer, y'all. I have appreciated about Threads that I feel like I'm seeing more sides of people than I do on any other app. So for instance, like even like Portia, right? So like a big creator who like on TikTok and on Instagram is very like I'm talking to the anxious babes, I'm talking to the black women, and I'm talking about politics and activism, and that's like singularly what she does. But over on Threads, she's posting her girlfriend, she's posting about basketball. I for the first 5 days she was posting about basketball, I had no freaking clue what she was posting about. I said,
or just food, the food the
right.
girlfriend makes.
She's making and she makes bread. Like, I mean, so like I just feel like I'm getting much more of people. And I think I made this comment somewhere on Threads that like I'm also finally seeing musicians and artists actually talking about politics and race and activism, which I don't see on Instagram. I don't see many artists outside of you and I, and the occasional passerby who are willing to be like, nah, we got to talk about ceasefire now. We got to talk about Sam Nordquist. We got to talk about these trans people who are being persecuted. We got to talk about what we're talking about later, about legal residents in the United States having their cards revoked and arrested. We have to talk about this. And it's not like it's been so lonely to me to come across a whole bunch of artists. And I maybe am putting words in Dr. Flo's mouth, but like when you go on Instagram, and you've complained about this aspect for years, but like everything is curated. And so you're just not seeing the authentic representation of people in that way. Like there are people that I know are radical in their pro-blackness, and there are people that I know that are gay, and you would not know it from their Instagram presence. And I'm like, why are we not living this up? Like, or I meet people, and people come into my DMs very often like, well, Tara, how do you talk about it and still get hired? Because I'm a whole person. And so I feel like Threads is that representation. Now, the downsides of Threads is that I do feel like people think that like you talked about this in the positive aspect of like we have access to large creators. We have access to people that maybe we wouldn't have access to. Like we could send them a DM and it would be lost to the eons, right? However, that also means that people are coming onto Threads thinking that you're one person, and they're showing up in your comment section and you ain't want to talk to them, because it's all access pass. And it's like, no, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you about that.
And it's showing us, not to interject, but it's showing us who really is community centered and who's there for the me show.
Right.
You can tell in the threads who's there to be platformed like we were on Instagram, and who's there actually there to talk. One of the ways in which I can tell that people, the Nat Ministry, I'm gonna call them out again. Maybe I'm gonna meet her up the path of the mountain, or not, girl. I dare to say, I think I've talked about this on a podcast before. I dare to say that the owner of the Nat Ministry was a deeper person than I thought, because some of y'all are deeper than I think. To Tara's point, like some of the social media and even your text messages are very surface. So, forgive me for when I finally see your depth and your brilliance in a sea of shallow people. And I said to I said online in a thread or tweet, oh wow, the Nat ministry is deeper than I thought. And she was like, you should go and check my website and my resume. I've been doing da 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 da. I was like, oh, and I said, thank you for telling me who you are. But she blocked me. This is not a person who is interested in the Nat ministry being accessible to everybody. She wants booty clappers who knows who she is and why and care that she ate soup for lunch. If that's what she cares about. But there's so many people that are like pretending to be somebody on the internet. We're seeing a dismantling of that. The internet is a place where Toto can pull the curtain. This is why over the last years, systematically and intentionally, I've become one of the realest motherfuckers in the room and online. Because it became very, very clear, Tara, you have better receipts of this than anybody else. It became very clear years ago that the people who were going to put me on a pedestal would be the same hyenas on Pride Rock to mow me over. To march on my grave with Scar. The same people that will put you on a pedestal will be happy to knock you off of it for sport. So I've just come very clean and clear and under control, as the commercials say, about who I am, because you can't knock a person who's being themselves off of a pedestal. You can only eat your cheese sandwich, girl, if you ain't got no meat in it. And sometimes I'm borrowing a slice of the bologna on Tara. No, Tara loved turkey because she craved turkey the whole pregnancy. Would not shut up about it. Sometimes I could cry about it, but I'm not. Sometimes the turkey on my sandwich is a couple slices from Tara's sandwich, which is disgusting. I just make sure she doesn't take a bite first. Joking. All I'm saying is if you ain't got no meat on your sandwich, we gonna see it on threads. If you got meat to share for somebody else's sandwich because you got extra meat that day, that's gonna be shared there too. I am very, very interested in and I may fuck this word up because pundits and smarter people than me say it, the democratization of the internet. I nailed it. I'm very interested in that. I'm very interested in everybody speaking up and saying, hey, I need help in these ways, and or I can help you in these ways just for today. I'm very interested in that. The wayward opinions on threads and stuff, though, not so much. Not so much. But we're going to have our cake and eat it too because we're loved and lovable. Oh, that's... it's not even a video. That's just the point.
Yeah, I mean it's a GIF in the actual thing. You got to make it big so the people can see it. Yeah.
Chuck Schumer is a Republican bitch. I said what the fuck I said. That is true. If ever there is a white man in the history of Democratic politics who is going to go and get his knob greased by a Republican to come back and betray us, it is Chuck Schumer herself. She's been lying the whole time. I used to sit in her district, remember? His district. And it was a problem because I would send letter after letter on behalf of Black Lives Matter New York. And one thing Chuck Schumer is going to do is send you back a form-fed letter with your name stamped on top. If you misspell your name to Chuck Schumer, he's going to send you back a letter with a misspelled name. Rude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for those of you context that are not engaged, so the Republicans are trying to push through a bill, and I haven't seen the status on it because I haven't scrolled for a few hours, but they are trying to push through a bill to prevent the government from shutting down. Okay. The shorthand is a CR. Okay. So they're trying to put this through, and it had no Democratic support in the House. And a couple of days ago, Chuck Schumer said there will be no support in the Senate from the Democrats, and the Republicans.
That's what he said.
That is what he said. With his full chest on his social medias. Okay, and the Republicans need 8 votes from the Democrats in order to get this bill passed. And last night, Chuck Schumer folded. Somebody said folded like a folding chair. And was a black. I don't remember what black human it was, but it was a black human, and you know why. Y'all have been here. Okay, y'all know why. Okay, y'all have been here. So
they know why.
He
folded like not just a folding chair, an Alabama folding chair.
Folding chair, yes. So he folded, and he was like, what did he say? He was like, well, if the government like he's trying to like save face, and he's like, if the government were to shut down, then they'd just be doing all of this stuff in the dark for no reason, or for like they would just continue without any parameters, because if the government shuts down, then the judges shut down, and da 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 da. And I think he got scared because the Republicans were like, we're gonna blame the Democrats. And so anyway, so he caved. And so then today everybody's been angrily calling their senators to make sure that they vote no today. And if this bill does not go, then the government shuts down today. So anyway, it's high stakes. But also, I just want to say something to y'all people out here that are like, AOC should run for Senate and take his place. While I do not disagree, what I need y'all to start thinking about, start ruminating on, is that when things like this happen, well, there's a video that I shared somewhere. I think it was Portia's video. It might have been somebody else's. No, it wasn't Portia. I think it was the Reclaimed. We are in a, like, those of us that have voted Democrat for a long time, and quite frankly, those of us who have voted anything for a long time, we are all in an abusive relationship with our politicians. And so I start thinking about that. Okay. Start thinking about that. And then I also just need y'all to start thinking about how we could do government differently. Right? Like the answer, and I've said this before on this podcast, the answer is not going to be by putting a Black woman or a Black trans person or a Black disabled person into the office, or AOC into Chuck Schumer's office. That is not going to work, because it is still the same abusive, capitalistic colonial system, right? It will still be there just because you put someone else in the place of that office. So we can use these opportunities not only to start talking about third-party runs and creating an actual third party that can withstand the race to presidency, so that we get an actual progressive and build an actual left-wing progressive political machine, which we do not have. I want to be very clear that even Bernie Sanders, who we all think is all out in left field, that man is a centrist. He is a centrist. So is
extremely bought. Bernie Sanders is extremely compromised and bought.
Centrist.
And got caught in it. And what a recent, if you do your research and you're not just blue MAGA, you'll see that in one of the recent hearings, they threw it back on him. All right, Bernie, since you're being so tough on Republicans, how much money do you actually get? Have we run? What's that website? I'm gonna do it while you're talking.
Oh, I don't remember.
What is that website where the
I don't even remember which app it was. It might be, it's WhatsApp somewhere.
That's
funding. Fine. Campaign funding. Opensecrets.org.
Got it.
Opensecrets.org. So yeah, there's that part, and the funding. Oh, Piper, what in the world? This child literally just threw up on me, you guys.
Oh God.
Literally just threw up on me. What in the world, Piper?
We'll be back, y'all, right after these messages. And we're back. Are you
And
still
we're back.
covered in baby vomit? Or
No, it wasn't very much. I'm just hoping it
Okay.
doesn't happen again. That was just right on my leg. They were just standing there, and all of a sudden,
I told the behind the scenes audience that I don't know when Love and Action offices turned into a kinder care, but I am leaning into it. People in real life bring their babies to the office as allowed by federal law. So, um,
yes. And also, can y'all tell that I was a choir kid, and I don't even flinch? Literally, just the child threw up on me. Good, great.
while you were enduring that kind of vomit, I was looking at the at top industry vomit and governmental vomit. Bernie Sanders has raised 35 million, spent 33 million, and has 10 million as cash on hand. All right.
Mm,
I don't know. Do you have
nope.
10 million cash on hand?
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
His top contributors are Google, which is big tech,
mhm,
Apple, which is
mhm.
big tech, Kaiser Permanente, okay, big business, right? Kaiser Permanente is uh, the network of 73,000 nurses and 24,000 physicians. Why is Bernie being paid by nurses and physicians? He also has vested interests, only 36,000, but 36,000 more than me from Amazon.com. And also, Bernie Sanders is bankrolled by the U.S. Postal Service, which is interesting because aren't they supposed to be supporting and funded by everybody?
I think so.
Why would Bernie Sanders need to get paid by the Pony Express?
What are you doing?
Anyway, we must be over that topic. I'll keep it pushing. To talk about my TikTok bans. Today I was banned from TikTok for 7 days. I'll be back maybe, as I say always, on the 21st of March. Let me check in real time, y'all, to see here at our news desk if I have been reinstated by massa. It looks like I am still not supposed to speak in the ways I do. I've been talking about it all afternoon, so I won't belabor the point. I basically went online and was encountered by a stranger from Threads who's a worship leading vocal teacher who's new in Tara and I's orbit. I asked him before I even launched into the discussion how deconstructed he was. And this is something that's a new kind of language. It even is the name of our program today, Deconstruction Junction. Some of us, and we feel shitty about our collegiate experiences. So we deconstructed academia. Some of us come from the cult of Christ. Amen. Hallelujah. And we deconstructed that too. All right. There are elements of academia and religion and society at large that are destructive and harmful. And we're not afraid to talk about it. And so when I then asked him, like, yo, I'm just meeting you, your worship leader, you're trying to get vocal students and build your studio, but like, just so you know, Paolo is pretty much an atheist on the low, and I'm close. It's no secret that Dr. Flo only believes in God on Tuesday, Thursdays, and some Saturdays. And intermittent on the other days, because the ways in which you all abdicate your personal throne and power to Sky Daddy and to other humans who are not who they say they are is crazy. Tara and I have been joking all day as siblings about being insufferable to one another. Lovingly insufferable. You want to know what's lovingly insufferable? Being around Christians who knew that Jesus fed the people and healed the people, and they don't have a healing or feeding energy in them. I told y'all about this white lady preacher up the street who reintroduced herself to me last week. I said, you know exactly who I am. I'm a child of the real king, bitch. I'm a child of the real king. I am a student of the Jesus who was, it's weird stories, Tara. This is why Tara doesn't make me more of a believer. My mother's probably praying against Tara as we speak, because Tara doesn't make me more of a believer in proximity. Tara, like, y'all really believe that this human was spitting into the dirt and then putting it on people's eyeballs and like making them see? Do y'all really believe? I tell Tara all the time, joking too, I only got room for 2 assholes of Love and Action Network because only 2 monkeys, according to y'all, 2 zebras, 2 monkeys, 2 giraffes, 2 camels got on a boat. It flooded, like, what? So when I go online and I say that God's so-called people and Jesus' so-called cult should be doing more to feed the 1 in 6. That's where I got banned today. Now that I think about it, I got banned right when I started talking about how if your Jesus can't feed the 1 in 6 hungry people in 27292, as I doxed myself, come and find me if you want to. If your Jesus and your God cannot provide for houseless and hungry people, save it. Don't try to save my soul no more, because I'm a person who was converted into it, and now I call bullshit from the inside. And so today when I was calling the Christians the Christian ain'ts, and started talking about how they do not do what the master teacher called me to do and so-called called them to do, that's when I got clipped. Don't worry, Tara. I'm going to be back on March 21st to say it again and again and again. There's no such thing as white supremacy. I'm waiting for that. And I'm still waiting for the real Christians to put their pussies on the table for love. The world's oldest profession. Putting your pussy on the table for love. In Westeros. And don't act like Tywin wasn't getting it. Don't act like Tyrion wasn't getting it.
Tywin for sure was.
What say you about TikTok bans and the way like there's this like optic that we're so free, but they're literally trying to choke us out as light workers and real motherfuckers every day. If y'all as another real motherfucker hits the floor, if y'all can't another real one, Piper.
That was a remote, not that child. Casually thrown.
Casually going to have to buy new ones soon. If y'all can't see that the real ones are being like little girl Angie, my super fan and vice president of my super fan club, Angie said, Mom said, who is Mr. Flo cussing out now? Remember that day when they were like, remember on Reddit when they were like, we're not sure if you're a better singer or shit talker, but we gonna go with it. Tell her I'm shit talking now, not singing. Two different S's. Long smile, support, and shenanigans, and we're in the shit talking shenanigans part of it because tell her that I was a nice guy. I really was I was a nice lady, Tara, for 20 years. But tell her, and I quote, but these niggas have me fucked up.
That's correct, Loretta. We have chats. Do you see the chats? Do you want to pull them up on the screen so we can say hello to Loretta? So here's my thing, y'all. Much like I said that we're in an abusive relationship with our politicians, we are also in an abusive relationship with social media. And I think that we really have to kind of acknowledge that. Okay, I was like, I don't know if he's talking.
I'm not talking to you. I'm apologizing. Usually, I put you on full screen when I'm apologizing to people's mama for cussing on camera. But go on. Go on.
Like, he is going in. I hope he's not talking to me. So, yeah, I think one of the things is like we can have our preferred platforms, we can have our preferences, and when those get banned because we are speaking up or because they have become too quote unquote free, which is the whole reason that TikTok decided to black us out for a second. And it was a literal second, y'all. It was 11 hours that you have somewhere to go. So Dr. Flo was able to go right back to Instagram and go live. And also there, this is just where I put in a thing to make sure that you are connected with people on as many platforms as you can be, including email and text messages, because they can all be taken away and they can all do stupid bans of your content, whether or not it is actually hate speech or something crazy. The flat earthers get platformed and we got taken down for talking about Gaza. So take that for
crazy. That's crazy. People are out here right now on the whole internet telling y'all that if you get on a boat right now, you're going to sail off the edge of the whole globe.
Hi.
And Dr. Flo is in jail again. Y'all send some commissary. Dr. Flo funds.
Commissary. And be careful. Angie does, child.
Angie. Oh my God. That's a joke. That's a joke, Angie. Okay, so I think there's like a box or a pack. Oh, no. Angie's commissary is already at the post office. We just have to wait for it to come. That's also something about small town. My mail ran very, very efficiently in New York City through the P.O. box. I knew the black lady behind the glass. It was great. Only here in North Carolina does the Postal Service, who's paying Bernie Sanders, we learned today, they can decide when they want to deliver things. It's so crazy. If they don't feel like it that day, I guess they get into it tomorrow. These are federal employees, child. Federal employees. We got a few minutes left in today's podcast because Tara's got to go back into the world and do what she's great at. She's a masterful facilitator and clinician and opener of the voice. She will fold your voice like an Alabama chair.
Yeah, we've made good time. I have a whole hour before I need to clean, so we're good.
Oh, six on you, not six on me.
Yeah,
Oh
6 months.
my gosh.
That's why we scheduled the like 2.5 hour.
We put it, y'all, it is no secret in my freedom. I told y'all I was a nice guy, a goody two shoe. I showed up to planes on time, banks on time. I showed up to Broadway stages on time, and I will continue to show up to things on time. But in this particular iteration of my freedom, Tara and I have learned that we need a 2.5 hour window for me to come into harmony with what's now a 50-minute event. So I'm just glad to know that we don't have to speed race through talking about this uh, black man who is in jail. I will continue to tell the story because it's important to tell. It won't be anything surprising to the real ones. Um, Whew. Black and brown people have been imprisoned erroneously for years. Black and brown people get ignored all the time in their need. And 44 years ago, this young black man of 16 years old and a second grade education got caught up with one of the most treacherous people on the planet, a lying and deceiving, child abusing Karen, a white woman in the community who was one of many in the 70s who were fucking on the young black men. You may have some in your community who you know about and whisper about. But the people in this community were doing crazy things like the young white school teacher was sneaking the black boys into her back door. And this white woman whose last name it's in my notes, but they try to keep her identity hush, as if she was not a 57-year-old white woman giving drugs and alcohol and lean to a 16-year-old who was eventually beat out of his sleep by black and white cops in this town, and eventually not giving any kind of legal representation. And that nigga's been in jail for 44 years, y'all. And they can't find a police report here about him, ironically, because there were black and white cops in on it. Now, what we do know is that his prosecuting attorney and the judge were reading from slave journals and Confederate documents over the weekends in their law offices. So, what do you think was going on in the 1970s? And what do y'all think is going on now? And so, in the same way that I'm in TikTok jail for stupid causes, Charles has been in a North Carolina jail for 44 years. And mum's the word. He's got one white lady named Wanda who took pictures of her folders. Tara liked it. She said the work of freeing, what did she say? Like the liberation work is, she said something like, the work never stops. And then they were like pictures of her, of like 1980s folders. This black man in jail who was erroneously sentenced and held there, they move him around the state every time people try to like set him free. It's weird here, y'all. And I'm boldly and profoundly proclaiming justice for Charles McNair. We do not need more folders, hiding preachers. Her board is full of hiding people who claim they want him out of jail. In fact, I'm going to clip this section of the show to put it in Love and Truth, so I'm going to send it to them. Y'all don't know, I send text messages and emails every day to people who like to pretend like Dr. Flo doesn't exist. Y'all say y'all want this nigga out of jail, Wanda Cox. Reverend, I forgot him already, Tara, and I just met him. Lester Smith, Tanya Lanier. What's the white man that's on the board who avoids me at the Food Lion? Liberal Larry. Come out wherever y'all are. How dare you avoid me by the box mac and cheese while you say you want a nigga out of jail? for after 44 years of being there. Y'all ain't right. There's no way he's going to get out of jail, Tara, if they're avoiding me. There's no way y'all are going to get Charles out of jail after 44 years if you can't even say hi to me in the Food Lion parking lot without shitting yourself. Stop. And y'all are on a 501c3 board, pretending with your pictures of paper to be speaking up truly for this black man. And I told her to her face, and I'll say it again on camera, you don't give a shit about every black person, Wanda Cox, which is why that nigga's still in jail. And the moment you start caring about the liberation of all black and brown people, the way you care about him only, then we'll be moving somewhere. We'll be cooking with the hot grease. That shit burns me up. There's a correlative effect. I'm going to land for this, but I'm telling you, like, this is why at one point in my truest depression journey in this town, I put online, and it scared some of my beloveds. I felt like a dead man walking here. Yes, I'm a person, trigger warning, who's recovered from suicidal ideation. I was suicidal from like 7 years old to 37. So I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. But many times as a black man in this country, it's like you walking around dead because people who are standing on top of 501c3 organizations for black people treat you like scum. And y'all gonna come clean. What say you, Tara, about justice for Charles McNair? And in your perspective, what is this story doing for you? You see how they treat me. You see how they treat him. It's dangerous to me because, number one, the last white person I fucked, well, let's not do that because people can take that out of context. I don't want your messages, nor do I care. All I'm going to say is this woman was a predator here. And that shit turned deadly. You know what they gave him, y'all? They gave that man life plus 10 years for being abused by a 57-year-old white woman as a black 16-year-old child. What were they trying to say to the community by giving a black 16-year-old man who was sexually abused and manipulated by a 57-year-old white woman? What were they trying to say to him, Tara, by giving him life plus 10 years? He would have to die, come back to life, and serve another sentence to satisfy these ignorant white people in this town.
I think, as I say often about Lexington, that it is a microcosm of what is happening in the rest of the United States. And what I mean by that is that we have seen in the past month, we have seen white people raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for other white people. Literally on the day, on that boycott that y'all were like, no spending, and y'all were going hard, and you was coming for the people that were like, yo, I don't think it's a great idea to like tell everybody that you're planning to boycott, like just boycott. You know, like, and like, let's get organized and do community stuff. And y'all were like, no, it's okay. We'll just give our money to this random white man. And we were like, okay, right? So, you know, Dr. Flo says this a lot. I say it a lot now. If they wanted to, they would. If they wanted to, they would. And what they wanted way back in the day was to send black people a message, which was, you is too free, so we're going to make it so. You're not, right? And y'all, my little doodad for my hair done broke, so we're getting
You good? I got you. I can do. It's what I explained it as is a modern day lynching tree. If
Right.
y'all remember the lynching trees, they would let our bodies just swing there in the wind forever, for days, weeks, months, years, as an example of what will happen to you if you get out of line. The reason why I said the thing about sleeping with white women earlier is because you're never going to catch me in the bed with a 57-year-old white lady with tools.
Right.
When they told me that he was caught in bed, with, that he raped her, trigger warning. I've had that happen to my body too. So I understand. But when they say that trigger warning, but when they say that he raped her and they found like tools, like a
A
screwdriver
Yeah.
and shit in the bed, I'm like, I'm sorry, but like that don't make no fucking sense to me at all. When you consider that it's a neighborhood of white women, including white women school teachers, who are fucking off on the young men.
And their children, and that is, I want to make that very clear. Dr. Flo has said man and young man a couple times, and something that happens because of colonization, because of white mediocrity, and because of the power that has been held for the last 400 plus years is the adultification of Black children. Right? You look, and I can guarantee you, if you ask a white person, okay, and you walk down the street and you ask them how old a Black child is, they will guess much older than the child actually is. Sometimes that has to do with the fact that Black children are sometimes very tall. Okay, there was a kindergartner that I taught once that was as tall as me. Okay, I'm 5'1", the kid was 5'1". All right. And I was like, my God, on today, you is tall. You is tall. Okay. But I didn't think he was older than 5. All right. He was 5. And so my point here,
human growth hormones.
it was not that. The child was just tall. Okay.
They put the growth hormones in the chicken, and then you get a 6-foot kindergartner.
It was a very tall kindergartner. Okay. And so the adultification of Black children in particular exists, and it is cruel, and that is also part of why Charles McNair was sentenced to life in prison. And the other point I'll make here is that since they cannot legally kill their property anymore, they will try other ways. Okay?
One more time for the people in the back.
Since they cannot legally kill their property or capital, they will try other ways to end life.
Such as making your blood pressure go up because they're removing the Black Lives mural on the ground in DC that they really didn't want there. They didn't want it there in the first fucking place. So right. It was performative.
Listen, right. I was going to say, which Black person asked for the mural?
I can't eat no fucking pavement. The whole time that they were putting down the Black Lives Matter shit, I was like, where is reparations? Y'all will do anything other than fully restore the descendants of enslaved people.
Y'all will boycott and give your money to a random ass white man on the internet. Y'all are so crazy. And then you walk around and you're like, what do I do? But what do I do? There's nothing for me to do. Y'all, what in the world? Sometimes I'm just like, do you realize? And they don't, how ignorant and stupid you sound. It's like, and that you're allowed to act like that, like, yeah, mass incarceration. Yes, Loretta. Yes, exactly. The prison system is a direct result. And I don't want to do the whole Black history thing here, but the prison system and police are, in fact, a direct descendant of the time of slavery. Police, that position was invented to catch enslaved people who had run away for freedom. And that became the industrial complex that is the prison system inside of the United States. And the
which became, I got your thread, which became the institutionalized education system of our country, prison, school to prison pipeline, which you're about to talk about. You're about to go into it.
The war on drugs.
The war on drugs. Okay. We deconstruct here every Friday at around 4-something in the afternoon.
And y'all, what do you think student loans are? Who has
enslaved
to take
people?
out more student loans?
the black and brown enslaved people, if they can get their generational people to be able. I tell y'all all the time about how my father didn't even know what a FAFSA was.
Right.
Have I told y'all about how I filled out my own FAFSA, my own student loan things, my own Pell Grant assistance and all that, only for my now dead father to turn around after I left school to say that he couldn't do none of it? Nigga, you couldn't do none of it because you couldn't read the paperwork
And
understand.
credit scores were invented slightly before your birth in the 80s. Like,
That's shade, y'all. That's shade. When Tara says things like credit scores were invented shortly before your birth, and then she says the 80s, and then she looks at me to the camera.
The 80s.
Rude on a podcast.
The point is that these, like, I really need people to zoom out and see how much of this is built to keep black and brown people down, to keep black and brown people enslaved. And then I want you to go look up what Abraham Lincoln actually signed. Like, I need y'all to go read it, because it's not what y'all think it is. It's not what y'all think it is. It's not. I assure you that it is not. It is not. And all of this relates to the story of Charles McNair.
I also learned the other day, Tara, that hashtag duh to the blackest people in the room, may or may not be me. Andrew Johnson was part of, and so was Lyndon B. They were all, these presidents dismantled the Emancipation Proclamation and the Civil Rights Act. Like, all of this has been kind of picked apart over the years. I'm not the black scholar in the room, but over time, hashtag duh, in the same way as you see 47 dismantling protections, the way they reversed Roe v. Wade, that's been happening to black and brown people systematically over time. All of the protections and the freedoms we think we have been fucked with by the establishment to take away the power of the freedoms that we fought for.
And it's the same thing, y'all. Like, one of the things that I would love for you all to understand about 45 and 47, he's the same person, but I'm not going to speak his name because I do not dignify murderers' names. I don't talk about the man that murdered George Floyd. I don't talk about them. Absolutely not. I do not dignify their names ever.
We don't center white problematic motherfuckers ever. Not in this network. If y'all came into this network to talk about white people and to center their bullshit, we're not going to do that. And that includes 45.
Right. So 45,
I call him 45 only because I don't think his bullshit ever ended. They wore hats. They're still wearing red hats.
Right. So one of the things about his regime, both times, is that they will go balls to the wall on something and make you feel it. Right? Make you feel like, oh my God, that's really far. Okay. I.e., okay. Let me use a recent example. We're going to cancel all federal grant payments. Y'all remember that day? I remember that day. It happened not even a month ago, y'all. Okay. We're going to cancel all federal grant funding. That is what they said. Everybody got up in a roar. So they rolled it back, but not to where it was. The normalization of what they are doing happens in real time by them going a mile and coming back half. Right? And this is the same thing that they do with the good rights, right? They give to us Roe versus Wade, and then they repeal part of it. Same thing with the Civil Rights Act. Same thing with Plessy versus Ferguson. Same thing with interracial marriage. Same thing with LGBTQIA plus marriage. I need y'all to realize the things that are happening that you are normalizing by never speaking up about it. By never speaking up about it. You don't have to care about everything. You really don't. But you need to realize what is happening, because the normalization of the extreme and the removal of rights and portions of rights is going to screw you over later. It will.
Yeah, and whatever you think people were doing, whatever you think people were doing during the Holocaust or during the civil rights movement, whatever you're doing now in
Is
your
what you would have
black
been
ass
doing.
life is what you would have been doing then. I'm convinced of that. I saw that
Amen.
online. I see that reiterated. Like, I'm a person who would have been fucking up Nazis.
Right.
Like that old white lady with the purse in Germany.
And I would have
Um,
been the person hiding people in my basement and in my attic.
exact and
You
the ways
know,
that you
like
do my black ass right now through the foundation. Yes. Like, I mean, whatever you're doing right now, I watched I watched all of you niggas, black and white, during this gossip thing that it's ongoing. And I'm still watching you. And whatever you're doing right now is exactly what people were doing during the Holocaust. If you're sitting around going, oh, I don't know what that even means, Dr. Flo. What are you talking about? That's what people were doing during the Holocaust, and they were marching people to the gas chambers every day without a care. Um, what I refuse to do is to give anybody the satisfaction of thinking that we're going back into chains in any way. If you think that I'm going to be intimidated enough to shut up while you do whatever you want to do, y'all don't know enough about me and how I treat my bullies and how I'm still treating my bullies. So that's that on that. We can't be here
um
forever, but I'm
would you
telling you, them getting our black men blood pressure and black women's blood pressure up without adequate health care is also part of their genocide against us. What are you saying?
would you pull up Loretta's last comment? Because I didn't bring this because I I just didn't bring it, but I do want to talk about this briefly. Um Loretta says, I am very affected by what is happening with student loans. And I have seen so much panic online lately. And I want to say like just a couple things about this. Okay, y'all. So many of you know, and I'll give you the context and then I'm going to say the things that I need to say about it. Okay. So what happened is in Project 2025, with which 45 has said repeatedly he knows nothing about, yet has followed the playbook the entire way through. There is a part of it that dismantles the Department of Education. That was implemented this week. 50% of the workforce at the Department of Education has been laid off. They no longer have jobs. And they have also been screwing with, over the last 8 weeks, the income-driven repayment plans available to borrowers for student loans. So that means that the SAVE plan, if you were on that, like mine say they're due in 2 days, but they don't give me a payment amount. The Supreme Court came for that back in July, said it couldn't be done. And so there's nothing to replace it. And then when this administration, this regime came in, they pulled the applications for income driven repayment plans. This also means that if you were coming close to your recertification date, for instance, some of those people, it was up in March, some it's up in April, some it's up in May, you have a standard payment reflected on your loans. And for many of those people, that is more than or equal to their rent, greater than $800 to $1,700, depending on.
What?
Yeah, I've seen as high as 2,500. People have said that they're demanding that they get paid. And here's what I want to say about this, y'all. It was actually Congress that implemented IDR. They can't remove that without an act of Congress, and they do not have the votes. Number two, they cannot take what you do not have. They cannot, I'm going to say it one more time. They cannot take what you do not have. One more time for the people in the back. They cannot take what you do not have. Our loans have been sitting interest free for the last 5 years, for the better part of the last 5 years. I cannot give financial advice, but I can say that if that happens to me, I will not be paying. You cannot take what I do not have. You cannot take what I do not have. And the last part of this is all made up. This is all made up. The whole thing is made up to keep people in their place, to keep Black and brown people from accessing education, to keep poor people from accessing education, to keep millennials and younger from having kids and having families and having freedom, because we are more liberal than the previous generations and we're more progressive, and we will get liberation for everyone. We are the largest population. That is what they are scared of. So I need you to understand that you are not without power because someone said that your loan payment is XYZ. They will have a mass problem over the next 6 months if we all default on our loans. They will have a mass problem. I do not suspect that they want that mass problem because they would prefer their money. They would prefer their money, which they are not going to get if they charge us up the wazoo and we run out. Okay? Loretta, I see you talking about garnishment in the chat. Be unafraid. There will be people that stand next to you. This community, we got you. We got you. Okay? So if they take your entire income, we got you. We'll figure it out. This is where community.
Loretta, I mean, we're not financial planners or consultants, but if they do try to garnish, if they garnish you, garnish your landlord, so he can garnish the bank. Like this is Don't worry about garnishment. If they garnish,
and don't let them.
Then you'll tell your landlord, and you'll tell the Verizon. Like, this is a massive ripple. Because y'all can garnish all you want. Now you're going to get a squatter. But when whole neighborhoods and whole cities become places where people are garnished, they really thrive on pissing off critical mass numbers of people, Tara. Like, because you have to in our society, because people cook. Yeah.
And the goal is to force us into the streets. The goal is so that they can get out their riot gear again. And we will not give them that satisfaction, y'all. We will not give them that satisfaction. And also, the goal is to make us feel alone and separated and divided. And we will not let them have that either. We are strong, we are linked, and we are community-based. And there are more of us than there are of them. I just really need y'all to understand this. That if however many million of us that have student loans just decided not to pay, collectively decided not to pay, that's a lot of people to come for.
If all the Black people, this is apples and oranges a bit, but if all the Black people refuse to go to work one day, this shit would crumble.
Right.
These folks are not superior. They're very dependent upon our compliance. This is why we say in these communities, especially under regime, do not comply. What is the saying, Tara? Like, don't comply first, or don't I've seen it all over online. It's like, don't comply first. Don't lay down first. Like, don't just go with these bad moves because that's what massa wants. Resist.
Right.
Resist. Whatever your resistance is, resist it. I've told y'all countless times about de-arresting people. People don't realize that white lady being dragged out of the Iowa community meeting, that only happened because people were not there trained in self-defense and how to de-arrest someone. They cannot take us all, and they can't take us all at once. You're going to have to guard your heart and mind and your spirit around the fear and paranoia vibration that these whites in power try to put over everything and everybody. Part of it is the loans. Part of it is the fear vibration around the loans. Same thing with this moving us forward, Tara, as a facilitator. Same thing they're doing with Mahmoud Khalil. If they can take him away in days leading up to his detention, because he's being detained. I don't even think he's being detained in New York City where Columbia is. They've like extradited him to like Florida or some fucking place.
Right.
Listen, Talk about Florida man. Like it's wild. If y'all, but he told his wife, he was like, "You need to know what to do if ICE comes here," because he was speaking up for Palestinian people on a very pro-Jewish campus. If you've ever lived in New York City or frequented Columbia University in the ways I have, doing white people shit, it is very establishment, very white led, very Jewish led. There's a stronghold there at Columbia University of white Jewish money. And the fact that this gentleman was championing the causes of black and brown people while being privileged to be in their midst, that's the reason why we have this story. Tara, pick up where I left off. I'm on one today.
I mean, this goes back to the very beginning, and this is what I try to do, y'all, is that I try to like get you a story and then get you a different story that both connect. If they're going to do it to trans women, they're going to do it to you. If they're going to do it to Mahmoud, they're going to do it to you. Right? They are literally, and again, this goes beyond this story, they are literally trying to end birthright citizenship. And some of y'all might not realize what that means, but that means that none of y'all was born, like none of y'all have citizenship because none of you are native to this land. None of you, unless you are indigenous and you happen to be watching this podcast. None of you are native to this land. If they can do it to Mahmoud without evidence and by repeal, they said, we're going to repeal the student visa. He was like, I don't have a student visa. They were like, we're going to repeal the other thing that you do have legally because we didn't like what you said. They will do it to you. Do not wait to stand up, just like we were just talking about with Loretta. Quit falling to the powers that be and stand up now. Start practicing now in the smallest ways that you can until you feel comfortable about making it bigger. So you don't want to come up here on this podcast with us and speak loudly and proudly out against the things that are happening. Tell your best friend. Go to the park and talk to somebody. I saw somebody the other day say, stop making extra payments on things and start just paying the minimum and saving and get that savings in cash so that you can help your community when they come for the banks. There are so many things that we can do right now. And don't for a second believe that even if you happen to be watching this podcast and you are white and you have the privilege, even if you are a white cisgender man, they will come for you too. They will come for you. They only care about the preservation of power, and the preservation of power.
Yeah, like, don't y'all watch Game of Thrones? White people kill white people all the time for the preservation of power in Game of Thrones.
And it will eat them from the inside out, right? Like, and so just understand that this is an easy case to stand for. I think many of you know that this is wrong, right? In the same way that many of you watched the murder of George Floyd, and you were like, that's wrong, but you're still out here debating on if Philando Castile was wrong or if Dante Wright was wrong because it was so fast and he could stop. This is clear. It is clear. Stand up for it. It's an easy thing to stand up for, in the same way that calling your senators to vote no on the crazy shit that's happening up there is an easy thing to do today. The same as calling for Charles McNair or emailing for Charles McNair is an easy thing to do today. The resources are there. The action is laid out. All you have to do is make the choice to take it.
Could we talk a bit about the resources? 5calls.
5calls.org. Yeah.
What's another one that I've got a couple. Resist Spot. I use Resist Spot a lot.
Yeah, Resist Bot on Telegram. I would also say that the Reclaimed on Instagram. Let me go get the actual handle. She's also on Blue Sky. Let me find her. Sorry, hang on.
And let's be clear, folks. ICE agents got this man Mahmoud on March 8th, and they're detaining him on American soil. But they're detaining him on American soil without having been charged for a crime.
Correct.
And there's so many instances of people in this country being locked away without due process. I hope he makes a lot of money off of this because there's no way you came to this country as a what the blonde lady press secretary and the Trump administration is trying to do is saying that he violated the terms and conditions of his citizenship by doing they always try to paint people like this as terrorists or being like anti the state. And so they're trying to put him in the same category as someone who would like spy or commit espionage against the country. This is a person that simply wanted black and brown people to not be ignored in their mass genocide and killing. And once again, the way you niggas shuck and jive and pick and choose what conversations y'all want to be part of, even in this network, is crazy to me. But your day's coming. Y'all only there's limited opportunities to sneak up on Dr. Flo and not be part of the freedom work.
Yeah. And so I was right. The handle is The Reclaimed, and every week she posts little text-based carousels of some actions you can take this week for positive change and lists out a whole bunch of them that are super easy to do. So my encouragement is for you to go find some of these people and from there proliferate and follow other people that are doing the same work and continue, right? Again, these steps are small. The steps are small. It could be as simple as paying for $1 of the person behind you's groceries. It could be as simple as grabbing something and putting it into a person's car with consent. It could be as simple as making the phone calls, right? Again, the action.
I mean, y'all could text 5 people today that they're loved and lovable. Hey, was thinking about you. It feels cheesy. I mean, I texted a few people last week saying, I'm thinking of you fondly. And they said, you too. And so you're kind of like, oh, I was thinking of you fondly. And all I got back was a you too. That's not the point. We're trying to generate more good in the planet. So go out on that limb. And we're going to be very, not to steal your thunder, Tara, we're going to be very proactive in our network about providing the hundreds of ways that you all can do things for free to help champion the causes that we care about. Y'all may have seen I am now part machine. I run to the AI. I'm almost talking to the AI just as much as I talk to Tara, and that's a lot. And the AI has the crazy thing about this artificial technology and artificial intelligence is that it has no limit to its ideas. It's only people that say, I can't think of anything to do. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I got a lot going on. Every time I reach into the AI and ask for 100 free things that people can do to champion the causes of being loved and lovable, it gives me 100 ways. I could do it right now. And so we're without excuse, folks. The technology and the opportunities are here for us to grow. Speaking of which, my Love Revival and Academy has not. I'm glad you plugged that in, girl. You were in danger. I saw the panic. I saw the panic face and the sound.
It came up and it said you have 11% battery left, and I
saw the panic face and then that famous MacBook Pro sound. Yes, me and my MacBook Pro are going to be going to build the Love Revival and Academy. For those of you who would like to help right now, send us positive vibrations. And Poppy Water and I are saving and making moves with our team to get a car. The moment that I get reliable transportation and a reliable ways and means to connect with the local community and the state and the community up and down the East Coast, we're going to be out of here so quick. For those of you who watch my streams trying to figure out where I am in the journey of North Carolina, this dusty ass place is almost done for me. And some of y'all gonna laugh and jeer about it like the hyenas on Pride Rock about me leaving here, but I'm leaving here because there's bigger opportunity with brighter people on the other side of this, okay? And surveil me instead of support me. Just know that my North Carolina days with Poppy Water are coming to a close because you niggas ain't doing shit but sneaking around pretending to be people that you're not. And who I am is a guy who's been here for over 69 weeks with Tara in this particular iteration of the project, striving for the Love Academy and the Love Revival. I've been saying for 4 years, like Polly want a cracker, that a love revival is trying to break out in the hearts and spaces of us all, and we are the only ones standing in its way. Y'all are, I'm so tired. I need to, there's so many excuses that people have about why they can't have a personal love revival and assist me with mine. I'm grateful to be accompanied by a strong band of sisters. I'm still looking for the brothers, because Poppy Water and I are not all brothers all the time. In fact, we're not brothers at all for you trolls on the internet who like to make that particular joke. Have you ever been around when people are like, is that your son? Is that your nephew?
Yeah.
There's no kinds of Cersei Lannister going on in here, y'all. That being said, if you are interested in linking with us, some people partner with us with their time. They come to the lives. Without you and Tara, I would be a lone nut yelling into the internet. But we're getting resonance and response now because I'm no longer a lone nut telling people that they're loved and lovable. I'm now accompanied and watched by people like you, viewers like you. And so Tara and Angie and Loretta and Poppy and so many others are continuously for 4 years now gathering around this global love revival and academy that I have been working to launch. I'm not going to stop. So if y'all are annoyed, I love you, Tara. You're wrong assistive energy. I love you, Angie, the other Tara, the other white meat. Sorry. Angie says, going to work, shaking my head, be right back. But I'm doing the father flow thing where I don't know which one of my kids, and they're not my kids. They actually pay me like they're my parents sometimes. But I never know which one of my kids is talking to me. So these days I've been calling Angie Tara and Tara Angie, but it's just because we're building something here, and what that looks like is these WhatsApp groups. If you're not yet in the Love and Action community on WhatsApp, tap in. We're building in real time. If you're not yet in Unfuckwithable Coaching, my paid coaching program, look into that. If you're not in Real Loves Club, my real fan club, see, I don't play these games. I know that Loretta is a real fan of mine with receipts. Tara is a real fan and producer of this show and producer of my Life and Revival with receipts. Angie sends me floss. These are real fans. And I'm not trying to put y'all up against the wall, but if you ain't sending me floss or giving me an encouraging word on my journey from my Love Revival and Academy, sit down and shut the fuck up. Because I'm working here and we're working here. And it looks like time, talent, and treasure of floss, gummy bears, cat food, and beyond. And if you're not on board with allowing the love revival to break out in all of us, then go and stand up against the wall like the Michael Jackson song says. What say you about this strenuous and committed journey over the 4 years of watching this love revival slowly cook out of your personal pockets and beyond, Tara?
And sorry, y'all, I'm fighting with a 10-and-a-half-month-old who insists that mommy does not be on the computer. I am just happy that you have found the confidence and the clarity and the alignment to walk this, and to do the things that are are needing to be done in order to lift it. Because you are right, and you have been right for 4 years, that there is a love revival that wants to break out in all of us, and the world needs more love and more care and more music and more community. That's what the world needs. And so I am happy. I'm happiest because I know that you have gone through some tremendously dark times and some tremendous situations that didn't need to happen, and you have arrived on the other side in alignment and wholeness and willing to share your overflow with everybody else. So yeah, I'm happy it's being built.
Well, Tara, you certainly have made it easier. You know, Tara never had to be kind to a guy like me. We joke about it, and we joked about it earlier. If you see two people arguing in the back of a pizza shop about where the mozzarella is, it's because I moved it because I was high. And that's the reason why the pizzas haven't been made yet. And Tara just
Also,
stands
the
there.
reason that there's 30,000 duplications. I've been working on this man for 4 years to decrease the number of duplications. I listen. We are successfully on WhatsApp.
Successfully there. We're there all day, every day. We're also, well, I got banned from TikTok today, but we're also on Instagram with our back of house audience. Y'all, this guy sitting here is actively becoming this guy right there again. And y'all are watching it happen in real time. And I'm grateful for your time, talent, and treasure. I know that I can be a bitch on camera and a bitch personally behind the scenes. But one thing that I am sincere about is my gratitude that you decide week after week, dollar over dollar, to invest your time, talent, and treasure into what we are collectively building. And, you know, I almost said I've been running for Jesus a long time, and I ain't got tired yet. That's what the black saints say. The black real saints say, I've been running for Jesus, Tara. And so what I'm saying today is I've been running for love. I've been running for love with y'all, and I've been running before I knew y'all for love and joy a long time. And I ain't tired yet. And neither is Tara. She's co-chairing a program with me called Adopt a Black Artist. We are looking to showcase Black and Brown performers and light workers who need help. Maybe you need additional subscribers for your YouTube. Maybe you're trying to get over 50 subscribers on YouTube or 100 subscribers on Facebook so that you can go live and share your message with the world. You know, Tara and I are privileged people. We're extremely educated, and we've done the hard work of platforming ourselves online. So we don't need 100 followers on YouTube because we did it. But you're going to need it to go live in these places. So if you'd like our help, we are doing open applications right now, about 5 questions and contact information in the newest iteration of the duplication she was pointed to earlier. You know, I have a shiny object syndrome.
Just so y'all know, he thought, I saw it happen. He thought about asking if there was a form already made, and then he actively did not ask the question.
Pause. No, you're almost there. I thought about how much my moves was going to piss you off. And then I did it anyway. But the look is the same. The look of, is it already done, or am I going to do this again and piss her off, are very close by the mozzarella.
Also did it again and forgot half of the stuff that we needed. But it's okay. It's fixed now, y'all.
We're co-chairing this project, y'all, because it really takes a village, because I told y'all I smoke so much. And that's cool. We already have, from the old and new iteration of this project, 4 new strangers and friends who want to be part of this program. They want to circle up and be supported in community and network and by directory and directory affiliation. So if you're out there and you know of a Black or Brown artist who needs support and community, we are supporting for free in this program, and we would love to get to know you better. If the guy's not offended, we met another one today who we'd love to adopt. He said he wasn't easily offended, though. He said I would have to try to offend him. And then my live went down because someone else, I guess, was offended. Tara, over the last few years, has become more open to seeing her studio as solely not a capitalistic enterprise, but also as a place where everyone can grow and build. And a lot of us have been making these shifts in our business owning journeys where we need to make our money to support our families, um, and our friends, and whatever we want to support. However, we also have elements of giving back that are now part of our organizations. I've never seen Tara do anything like this. Up until now, she saw family in her studio who fell on tough financial times. And she said, I'm not going to kick you out the studio per my contract. That was how I met Tara years ago. Tara years ago was like, yo, you're going to pay me my worth because I love myself. And that nothing wrong with a strong Black, multiracial, multi-passionate person charging their worth. The rate is the rate is the rate. And over time, as Tara has fallen in love with her equitable heart and her service driven heart and seeing what's going on in society, she had this family come, I'm paraphrasing horribly, but they fell on hard times. And instead of giving them up and saying, go find free services or whatever, we're doing a fundraiser monthly, $200 to keep these two kids who are really talented, one of them non-binary, in the studio and serviced, because we recognize, as we say every week, that a kid, hey girl, you're in my orbit. I see you like every 6 years. Welcome back. I'm still flowing. I've been running for love a long time, and I ain't tired yet. I'll see you in another 6 years. I told you earlier, people kind of orbit. We have very busy lives, though. But I see some people every 6 weeks. I see some people every six. I mean, I'm joking. I see that girl smiling more than that. But it's been a couple of Sundays. Anyway, I'm taping the podcast, but I love you. The goal is $200 a month. Poppy, Water, and I contribute as often as we can. Tara, can you tell us a bit more about these kids and why they pricked your heart to keep them while also fundraising for them?
I mean, it's not every. It is not every teacher's calling to teach. Some people teach because they need the money, and some people teach because they feel like they can't perform. And there's a lot of different reasons that people teach. I have never been in teaching for the money, ever. If I was, it would not have taken me 3.5 years to leave my studio position where they paid me $24 an hour. Okay. So I want to be very clear that I have never been in it for the money. But I also, up until now, never trusted my community to come through with the funding. And actually, up until my first album was funded by community, right? Thanks in large part to Loretta. I'll shout Loretta out because Loretta's here. Loretta made an investment in that album. And so anyway, and then also the mutual aid campaign that we ran last year for Dr. Flo and Poppy. My community came through in small ways, but still contributed. And so that really taught me that I have to stop being afraid of my community overextending themselves, or me, pushing and them getting tired of asking for it. They want to support these students. They want to support me, and they want everyone to succeed. And I am so lucky to be in a place that I always have a full studio. It's pretty rare that I am down for the I'm not without students, right? And so I could have kept them without fundraising, but I wanted to give the village an opportunity to be engaged in what I do and what my students do. And this is a way to do that. So, yeah. Yeah. And I'm happy they spoke up instead of just quitting because that's a big part of it too.
That's a big part. I would rather a student tell me, yo, I ain't got it, but I still want to work on my craft than to just disappear. Because some people disappear from these lessons and they never come back. Also, I'm double dipping right now. I'm telling that girl Smiley because we only see each other like every 6 months because the algorithms, like honestly, the algorithms don't really want us free. The reason why I'm here today, that girl Smiley, talking to you and loving on you and your wild and crazy singing ass is because I got banned from TikTok earlier today. So I'm usually on TikTok all day, every day doing my behind the scenes stuff. And today I got banned from TikTok, which we talked about earlier in the show, and that's why I'm here. But we don't have to be lost to each other or strangers to each other. It's just that the white people that are in control of these phones who pay Bernie Sanders, we were talking about earlier, the Googles and the Apples of the world, they do not want me to connect to your black brilliant ass. They want us to stay lost forever until, I wonder where Dr. Flo went. And then you see me pop up one day. It's because they've not been trying to allow us to connect. We got to change that under this bullshit. Okay. Anyway, I'm hiring right now, y'all. Folks who want to become part of something bigger than themselves. We're uniting talents of diverse artists to celebrate the power of love through music, theater, and art online and also in person. I produce these programs in addition to Tara producing here. If you're interested in being hired or auditioning for our online cabarets, our online poetry nights, if you're interested in joining our WhatsApp groups and coming to our upcoming poetry night, and also the Wicked watch party that's happening very soon online. Just DM us. Shit, DM us. I'm thinking about my blunt. Already. I'm halfway off the stage.
Uh-oh.
Not uh-oh.
You got and you got to make nutrients for your man.
He's self-sustaining now. After you train a husband, they pretty much self-maintain, basically. Dr. Flo would like to teach you how to use your voice for good on the planet. If you're interested in my free masterclasses daily, tap in to come into my clinic and academy at lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. Tara, a big one for us, an hour and 47 minutes of hanging out.
Very small amounts of content.
We talked, we had shit to say today, child.
Apparently.
I like it though. I love it when we're in our authenticity. I love it when we're long-winded. I love it when it's fun because people ask us all the time as auditionees or as just casual people in a network, if I were to come on the podcast, like what would it be like? And I like sending them accurate representations of our energy. This is how Tara and I talk to each other rough and tumble behind the scenes. We decided in our programming to bring who we are behind the scenes out to the world. And it seems like folks like Angie, that girl Smiley, whoever this Simpade, y'all are so weird online. Whoever these people are, hopefully y'all are benefiting from our musings in public. We are, in the words of Tara, people who are not afraid to say the shit that nobody else wants to say, and we're willing to stand up for what is love and what is truth and action. Closing thoughts, Tara. Last piece of chicken for you.
And we're willing to talk and draft. And the last thing that I'm going to say is to give you another bit of news that some Democrats joined and the CR has been passed. And here are the people that we should be voting out. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, who is a whole problem unto himself, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, no shocker there.
Fetterman is a tall white guy that's bald, who looks like a WWE wrestler.
Yeah, who had like cancer or something or a stroke or something.
I don't care about that. How dare you have cancer and then try to starve out the American people?
It's crazy. Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii.
There was your homegirl, Egyptian Mezzo, creeping on me.
Oh, hey. Hey, girl, hey.
Sahar. Hello.
Hello, Sahar. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York. Senator Gary Peters of Michigan, Senator
Clock it.
Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, Senator
Clock it.
Jean Shaheen of New
Clock it.
Hampshire, and Senator Angus King of Maine.
Clock it.
Goodbye, folks. And with that, from all of us here at Love and Action Network, at PoppyBada33, at Andrea and the Flow, at Tara Priolo Studio, all of Awesome Angie Enterprises and Novelties, and all of you who have donated and in time and money and stuff. We love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. Continue to be anti-racist. Be safe. Wear a mask. Make good trouble. Do good work. We love y'all hardcore. You are loved and lovable, and ain't nobody can change that. Joy is the revolution.